Hey everybody, I'm Tom Vasel, and welcome to Look Back. This is a show in the Dice Tower I do where I talk about reviews that I did 1, 5, 10, and 20 years ago, and tell you what I think about them now, if I think about them at all. So let's jump back 20 years ago to Stratego Legends. This was a game from the new Avalon Hill from Hasbro. Very exciting idea. The idea of a collectible card game mixed with Stratego. Now today I would be aghast at the idea, but at the time I thought, what a neat thing. Stratego is a game I like a lot, but Stratego Legends, the problem was you had to look up a reference sheet for every single piece every single time, and that got old really fast. 5.5. Paint Check, the paintball game. This is a game about paintball. At the time, I thought paintball was one of the coolest possible things you can do. Today, I still think so. The game itself, though, not particularly good. Another 5.5. Lord of the Rings, The Duel. So this game here was in the Cosmos 2-player line and is about Gandalf versus the Balrog. And you're moving up steps and playing cards back and forth. Very light on theme. Very light on theme. And particularly, it's okay. It's memorable because it's not terrible, as a lot of Lord of the Rings games were 20 years ago, but still 6 out of 10. Vex, the flag card game. This is a game that came with every flag in the world on a card, and for that I was enamored right away. A bunch of different games you can play. They're not particularly great. I'm dropping my rating to a 6 here, but I still like the idea, and I still have these somewhere because I really like the flag cards. Coloretto. This is the game that Zularetto came out and was based on. But this idea of playing cards out into groups of 3 or taking a group of 3, and you want to have a bunch of the same color, but not too many different colors. Very simple, good little card game. 7 out of 10. All right, 10 years ago I looked at, well, nothing. So there was nothing that week. 5 years ago, I took a look at Dark Legacy: The Rising, which is maybe not the worst game I've ever played, but definitely up there. A 1 out of 10. This game is horrible. It is a game that's trying to be like Magic the Gathering, but gives you a D20 worth of mana points on your turn. Insane cards that aren't balanced. It tries to mix RPG, Magic the Gathering. It is literally a primer on how not to design a board game. Masters of the Galaxy. This is from Ares, a pretty terrible space game. 4 out of 10. Trap Words from CGE. CGE keeps trying to capture the Codenames Magic, and this game was just a little more complex than it needed to be. Not that great. 5 out of 10. Lifestyle. This little card game from Amigo where you're trying to get some rich, trying to gain things, roll dice to get them. It's okay. 6 out of 10. Majolica. Now, I know a lot of people enjoy this game. I found the ending to be anticlimactic and a little complex for what the game was, so I give it a 6 out of 10. God's Forge. A CCG style game with some really funky, cool artwork, but just short of what I'm really looking for in a game, a 6.5. Villagers. So far this company has made 3 games. Villagers, Streets, and The Moon. Now, Moon is the best of the lot. Streets was not very good, but Villagers was a nice thing. There's a couple minor things about the game. I would play with all the cards, for example. If you played, you know what I mean. So I give it a 7.5. Crusaders, Thy Will Be Done. This is a game from Tasty Minstrel, one of their games from their Deluxeified line. But it's a pretty small little Euro-style game about moving across a board. I enjoy it. 8 out of 10. Dire Wild, which I believe is the only game Iron Horde ever made. And in fact, they talked about expansions and stuff more. This is a cooperative deck-building adventure-style game, which looks like an indie game. It really does. But I thought it was a pretty enjoyable, fun time to play. 8 out of 10. Space Base, The Emergence of Shy Pluto. The first expansion for Space Base. Space Base being one of my favorite games, a 10 out of 10. I give this an 8.5. The little thing you play through, there's like a little mission series. It's okay, it's fine. But the extra stuff it gives you, I love. Once Upon a Castle. This is a fantastic game for kids. It is a roll and write style game in which you're drawing this castle. It is fantastic. If you have kids, get it. 9 out of 10. And Dice Throne Season 2. The more I play Dice Throne, the more I like it. This one is up to a 9. I just love this game. All right, last year, I took a look at Hickory Dickory from Plaid Hat. Man, I want to like this game. Moving around the clock, having mice jump on and off, but it's just okay at best, and I didn't really enjoy it. I just felt like I was kind of, everything was just, the decisions were mostly made for me. 5 out of 10. Encyclopedia, a game that has some insane amounts of weird math at the end of it. Weird scoring methods. A lot of the actions are boring. There's like some major big actions. It just feels like a mess of a game. 5 out of 10. Evora, about building. Rome, it's okay. 6 out of 10. City Builder, Ancient World. This one doesn't look great from inside out. I mean, the box cover is great, but you're building some tiles. And I tend to like some of these tile laying games, building a city and trying to score points based on different sections you put together. 7 out of 10. 9 Lives, a little weird trick-taking game where you can see the colors on the back of people's cards and you're betting on how many tricks you think you'll win. 7 out of 10. Inheritors. This is a weird card game that at first feels like Uno-esque. There's a lot more to it than that. It's a little complex. When I went over the rules of this, I thought, this game will be bad. But I was surprised to find I enjoyed it. 7 out of 10. Power Plants from Kids Table Board Games. This is really stretching the limits of their kids' part. It is a fairly in-depth, not in-depth, but it's an abstract strategy game with some pretty, chunky decisions. I feel, I don't think kids will be that attracted to it, but beside all that, it's a fine, interesting game. 7 out of 10. 0 to 100 gets a 7 out of 10. It would get a higher one if there was more cards in the box. But it's kind of like Timeline with facts, wits and wagers. It's a pocket party game. Aldabas, The Doors of Cartagena. This is a game about doors and putting things out. And I was really surprised at how much I like this little engine building game. Again, one I thought I wouldn't like, but I did. 7 out of 10. The Shivers. This is barely a board game. This is a role-playing game in a box, but it is very, very, very user-friendly. You basically have this big 3D thing. This is like if you want to be a dad and run a really short RPG game for your kids or other people. I mean, there's some board game elements to it, but it's pretty unique. So 7 out of 10. And then Campaign Trail from Gray Fox Games. Yeah, some issues with components and rules and things like that. But overall, I really enjoy this game about an election that used the electoral system, which is something I like a lot and has some neat concepts to it as you're fighting over it. It's 2 to 3 players, essentially. I guess you can play more than that. It's really a good 2-player game, back and forth. You pick your political party, and then you just use different cards and different people, and there's a lot of cool things. I tend to like election games like this, so 8 out of 10. And there you go, folks. Those are the reviews I did 1, 5, and 20 years ago. Thanks so much for watching Look Back. We'll see you next time on the Dice Tower.